On your screen right now, you are seeing a woman defecating near a tree. That's normal now. The station also shot footage of a man inhaling keyboard cleaner on a sidewalk. Also pretty common. The big problem, according to people who live there, is that drug addicts are taking over the city because they now have more rights than we do. New York functions on behalf of drug addicts, not on behalf of taxpayers or people with children. We know that because prosecutors have stopped sending people to jail for things like puffing keyboard cleaner on the street or defecating on trees. Here's Fox 5's report.
People living here on West 21st Street between 8th and 9th Avenues are trying to cope with an influx of drug addicts who have turned their once lovely neighborhood into a 24-hour drug and sex den. All of this is happening in front of a school. Fox 5 was first there in June at PS 11, where parents tell us their children have seen way too much nudity, sex acts, drug use, and threatening behavior. After buying their heroin, crack, and crystal methamphetamine, users then walk down West 21st Street looking for a place to get high, just like this person appeared to do right in front of our cameras. In these exclusive surveillance images, you see the illegal drug use. Residents tell us the problem is getting worse despite their efforts to get help and increase security.
I had some blown off me last week. I was gardening over here, and I tried to chase someone away who was urinating in a car, and this person pulled a knife on me. So I just called the police and back away.
How long do you think you're getting put up with this?
Not much longer. I've already started thinking of selling my apartment, and a lot of people actually in this area have been talking about that.
So sad. That was reported Lisa Evers, by the way, good for doing that story. The bigger picture, of course, is that cities need to be run for productive, law-abiding people. That's why we have cities. That's why we have civilization. They cannot be run on behalf of people whose lives and behavior destroy civilization. You can't invert the formula, or else everything falls apart, and people leave. And that's why New York City has lost hundreds of thousands of residents in the last 2 years. Eric Adams is the new mayor, but the city is still getting worse. Speaking of change, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it is acceptable in the media to engage in overt race hatred. Here's the most latest example. Journalists are celebrating a book called The Last White Man. It's a fictional account, but effectively it celebrates the elimination of an entire race, which used to be called genocide, and we were always against that, but not anymore. The author of the book, Mashan Hamid, said it would be, quote, the beginning of something great if an entire race disappears. Wired magazine agrees. They called the book, quote, a glimpse of a future without white people, and of course they're celebrating this. When did we all get behind the idea of genocide being a good thing? Oh, shut up, don't notice. But it's hard not to notice because they're saying it out loud. What should we think of this? Pedro Gonzalez is associate editor at Chronicles, who joins us tonight. Pedro, this seems like kind of a sea change. You didn't used to be allowed to say, I hate an entire race of people and hope for their extinction. Wired magazine would have kind of had your back on that, but now they do. What is this?
Right. Well, it's a new phenomenon that goes just beyond books, but I think it's important to actually do an overview of The Last White Man. Basically, the characters suffer through these apocalyptic changes as violence escalates as whites disappear. Pale-skinned militants in woodland camo stalk the streets, attacking people with impunity from the cops. But a calm settles upon the world once whites disappear from its face forever. A book like this, which is somewhere between racial exterminationist literature with a kind of wistful touch and liberal pornography, could only be written about one group, and that privilege is reserved for whites. There's a whole industry for this stuff, Tucker, and there are no shortage of eager consumers who eat this stuff up because they believe truly that there's no limit to the amount of demeaning that we can inflict on whites. And again, it goes beyond that books like The Last White Man. I'll give you a different but related example of this phenomenon. The Minneapolis Public Schools and local teachers union have recently instituted a new policy in which, when it comes to downsizing and layoffs, the rule is white teachers must be laid off before any teacher of color. In other words, they've codified racial discrimination against whites in real life, not in fiction. In an age where we talk a whole lot about discrimination and hate speech, we've actually formally instituted it in the United States against the group who we blame for this stuff, and that is obviously white people.
Yeah, it can't. I mean, that's racism doesn't ever end well, and at this scale, it'll end very badly. And I hope they stop it immediately. It's beyond belief. Mr. Gonzalez, I appreciate the clarity of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Liz Cheney lives in Northern Virginia, always has. She's a product of Northern Virginia. For some reason, she represents Wyoming in the House of Representatives. Thankfully, it looks like she's going to lose re-election tonight in the primary, but she's going to be a lot richer, very rich. Liz Cheney got extremely rich, not representing Wyoming. How'd she do that? Do they pay that well in Congress? We've got the numbers next.
The late night lineup has a new king. Gutfeld reigns supreme.
Thanks, America. And also, you're welcome, America.
Gutfeld is the show for the people.
We already know this is your lucky day, because you're watching me.
And it's time to give the people what they want.
Fox is anti-cancel culture. We know people screw up.
Gutfeld, weeknights, only on Fox News Channel. America is watching.
What do this busy mom, this four-time Olympian, and this top-rated doctor all have in common? They're supporting their energy and cardiovascular health with Super Beats black cherry-flavored crystals, America's #1 beet brand of circulation superfoods.
My mom always used to say, eat your beets, it's good for you. Boy, was she right. Super Beets is a game changer. It helps dilate blood vessels, and that's where the magic really starts.
Just 1 teaspoon of Super Beets gives you the functional benefit of 40 teaspoons of fresh beets without the beet taste, supporting your circulation and blood oxygenation so you feel more energized.
I love that I can take something that I know is giving me a totally different kind of energy.
It's having a beneficial effect on my heart. It makes me healthier.
See why we've earned over 58,000 5-star ratings and reviews, and why over 1 million people, including 120 pro and college sports teams, have put our superfoods to the test.
It's a circulation superfood, so it increases blood flow. With Super Beats as part of my training, I was winning races against guys that were 10 years younger than me.
Call or go to mysuperbeats.com to find out how you can get 30 days of Super Beats plus free shipping with your first order. We'll even include a free travel pack of our heart chews with added grapeseed extract, perfect for on-the-go energy. Plus, a free pack of our new turmeric chews for joint health support to help reduce inflammation from physical activity and exercise. It's all backed by our 90-day money-back guarantee.
We're so proud that we actually helped America discover the true value of what beets could do to help them live better lives and stay in the game. My life is dramatically different today because of the products that we have created and the scientists who helped us do that.
To order, call 1-800-824-7670 or go to mysuperbeats.com. That's 1-800-824-7670.
Even the toughest spills are no match for the world's best vehicle protection. Laser-measured WeatherTech floor liners. Discover all the ways to keep your vehicle looking like new at WeatherTech.com. Proudly made in America.
Attention! If you were stationed or working at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may have been exposed to contaminated water and may have developed serious health issues as a result. A new law could make it possible for anyone who lived or worked at Camp Lejeune during that time frame to receive compensation, even if they previously filed a VA claim and were denied. To see if you qualify, call 844-400-2000. That's 844-400-2000. Don't delay. Call 844-400-2000 right now.
I've always lived an active life, but recently had to slow down. The aches and pains I was experiencing from injury limited things I enjoyed doing most in my life. My search for 100% drug-free pain relief led me to Relief Factor. It made a real difference in my life. After taking Relief Factor, I began to feel like myself again, and in a matter of weeks, I was back to where I was before. And I continue to be practically pain-free by taking Relief Factor daily. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free alternative created by doctors and backed by scientific research specifically formulated to help your body fight pain and inflammation. 70% of the over 500,000 people who have tried Relief Factor end up ordering more. That's because it works for them the way it works for me. Call 1-800-4RELIEF or just go to relieffactor.com to feel the difference.
This season, you need America's weather team. Precise, personal, powerful. Fox Weather is Hurricane HQ.
Well, it's primary night in the state of Wyoming, and you know what that means. It means that very soon, Liz Cheney will have an endowed chair at AEI, be writing a column for National Review, and be releasing a book from Simon & Schuster called Democracy. Let's just our guess. She's going to lose, it looks like, tonight by a large margin because God does exist. But before she heads to retirement, we thought we would ask a pretty simple question. How does Liz Cheney get so rich? She's been a member of Congress for 6 years. Now, so when she took office in 2017, her net worth was estimated at $70 million, which is a lot for someone with no skills, but that's what she had. Now she's worth more than $44 million, according to the Center for Responsive Politics, which looked at her financial disclosure forms. Now, probably an honest explanation for all of this. We're not accusing her of robbing liquor stores, but you have to wonder, how did Liz Cheney make more than $36 million in 6 years of public service? That's $6 million a year. Huh, good gig. She didn't report any earned income, gifts, or transactions in her disclosure form. Her top listed assets were Citibank, $3 million, and money from her husband's law firm, Lakeland Watkins, also $3 million. There's also money from a family trust. We assume that accounted for a lot of the cash, but we don't know. Whatever the case, it's not Wyoming's problem anymore. After tonight, Liz Cheney is going back to where she's actually from, suburban Virginia, probably running for president too, and we look forward to that with great joy. We should give Kamala Harris's running mate. So there's been a lot of leaking from the DOJ recently, but somehow the Justice Department has not leaked anything really about Jeffrey Epstein, including his client list. Why is that? Well, Elon Musk, a big picture man, if there ever was one, asked that question recently. Quote, "The only thing more remarkable than DOJ not leaking the list is that no one in the media cares," he wrote. Well, that's true. And while we're on the topic of Epstein, why did Bruce Reinhart, the magistrate judge who approved the Mar-a-Lago raid, represent several of Jeffrey Epstein's employees, including his pilot and his schedule? Huh, weird. Bobby Capucci is a podcast host who is doggedly following this story. He joins us today. Bobby, thanks so much for coming on. So you follow this full time, one of the few who does. Why haven't we gotten any of this information in the form of leaks to the New York Times? Do you think?
Well, in my opinion, it has to do with how far it goes. This is such a gigantic in scope operation that he was running that if they really dug deep, that it would be almost earth-shattering what they would discover. If you take a look at some of the similar cases in New York at a similar time for similar crimes, R. Kelly or Keith Raniere, both were hit with RICO charges, but Epstein, Maxwell, no RICO there. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, they grabbed some of Alex Jones's texts the other day, and the line is that Alex Jones is the real criminal, not Jeffrey Epstein, right? But the second they got his texts, you know everything embarrassing thing he's ever said, of course, is going to be in the New York Times. But they are affirmatively protecting Jeffrey Epstein, who's not even alive anymore. It's just one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
It's been going on all the way since the Vanity Fair article back in 2002, the puff piece on Jeffrey Epstein back then. You know, Maria Farmer outed this guy in 1995, 1996. Nobody followed up on it. Nobody ever pursued him the way they should have. And it was all happening right under the nose of the FDNY, who loves to get on their ivory tower and preach down to the rest of us on a regular basis about how bad we live our lives. Meanwhile, this guy was running around in their district for 4 presidencies, hanging out at the White House, they're all of it, and nobody cares what's going on until the survivors themselves decide to go and take the case to the people. And we see what's happened since then. There's been an avalanche effect, and they've had to react to it.
Really quick, you keep reading suggestions that there's a trove of videotape of other people at Epstein's properties. Do you think that's true?
Well, what I can tell you is all of the survivors who had access to his townhouse, all of them that had access to Palm Beach, they all said that there were surveillance rooms in those houses set up for that specific purpose, to take video of everybody who came in and to document it. So we're talking about the people that actually lived through this telling us that. And nobody cares. We have, I mean, when the Daily Mail is leading the charge to go after somebody like Prince Andrew and not the Gray Lady or the Washington Post, that tells you everything you need to know about where the legacy media is at.
That's exactly right. And of course, he was connected to various intelligence agencies, which might be the real answer. Bobby, I appreciate your staying on the story when few others are. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tucker.
So Wall Street, in a lot of cases, now making investment decisions based on something called ESG. ESG. What happens when you invest according to ESG? Well, you can take an entire country. They did in Sri Lanka. But a new firm is pushing back against this trend, run by a friend of this show, a very smart person, giving Americans the opportunity to invest without being subjected to other people's political agendas. He's going to roll it out live after the break.
Today, rising prices are everywhere. At Nutrisystem, we believe this shouldn't stop you from losing weight and living healthier. That's why, for a limited time, we're dropping our prices back to January 2019 on our most popular program, Uniquely Yours. You'll get our delicious meals delivered free. You may not be able to control rising costs, but you can control your health and your weight with Nutrisystem. Take advantage of this limited time offer. Go online or call right now.
The explosion hit, it was like an incredible wind.
And everything immediately went black.
I was gurgling a mixture of water, seawater, and oil.
Everybody else in that space was killed.
34 men killed, 174 men wounded.
There was blood everywhere.
And Congress just looked the other way.
Get the full story at justiceforliberty.org.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Coffee. When I tried My Coffee for the first time, I was blown away. It's the best coffee I've ever had in my life. And it starts with the beans that are grown in Honduras. They have the perfect climate for growing coffee plants, which produce the best beans ever. Each batch is tested to meet the highest industry standards, and all the production's done right here in the USA. It's like you're getting that small batch specialty coffee delivered right to your front door. And you can get them ground or whole bean or in the single serve coffee pods. Plus, it's certified organic and non-GMO. And I guarantee it'll be the richest, smoothest, best coffee you've ever had. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen now. Use your promo code and I'll get you My Coffee for 25% off. That's mystore.com. It's my new platform for USA entrepreneurs. So please order now.
I'm here to tell you about saving money on your cellular service. All right, here we have cups of coffee from the same pot. These are more expensive. This one, just $1. Which would you buy? It's simple, right? That's why thousands of people have switched to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers. That's right, the same network for much less, with plans at $30 a month for unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data. Look at these stats. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. And you get to keep the same phone and same phone number. No contact, no hassle, and no hidden fees. You get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. And remember, you'll get the same number of bars because it's on the same network as the larger providers. Saving is easy. Dial pound 250 and say Pure TV to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Simply smarter wireless.
Can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening. Sean breaks down the big stories like no one else.
Crisis after crisis, Joe Biden is failing this country on a massive scale.
Television and weeknights.
Manhood looks different from guy to guy, but when yours bends in a different direction, you might feel bothered by it. So talk to a urologist, because a bend in your erection might be Peyronie's disease, or PD. It's a condition that involves a buildup of scar tissue, but it's treatable. Xiaflex is the only FDA-approved non-surgical treatment for appropriate adult men with Peyronie's disease. Along with daily penile stretching and straightening exercises, Xiaflex has been proven to help gradually reduce the bend. Don't receive if the treatment area involves your urethra, or if you're allergic to any collagens or any of the ingredients. May cause serious side effects, including penile fracture or other serious injury during erection, and severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Seek help if you have any of these symptoms. Do not have any sexual activity during and for at least 4 weeks after each treatment cycle. Sudden back pain reactions after treatment may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a bleeding condition or take blood thinners, as risk of bleeding or bruising at the treatment site is increased. Talk to a urologist about what your manhood could look like. Find a Xiaflex trained urologist at bencarrot.com.
Disgusted by that smelly sponge that's stinking up your sink? Get rid of that bacteria farm and get your hands on my antimicrobial Styrostyle sponge. The sponge that doesn't stink. It's designed to prevent odor-causing bacteria, mold, and mildew from growing on your sponge, and rinses clean. The signature design fades to let you know when it's time to throw it out. Don't fear the stink. Get Scarab in your sink. Available at Styrostyle.com and Target.com.
So the federal government has a habit, decades-long habit, of classifying information you have every right to see, because it gives bureaucrats power. They have clearances, you don't. And that includes a lot of really interesting information, including a lot of information on ritual cattle mutilations. Now, over the years, a couple of U.S. senators have called on the FBI to investigate these mutilations because cattle are actually a commodity. Ranchers lose money when they die, so there have been a number of federal investigations into cattle mutilations. For a brand new episode of Tucker Carlson Originals, we looked into how the government responded to all of this. It's fascinating.
On multiple occasions, sitting U.S. senators have demanded the FBI investigate these mutilations. The FBI has declassified hundreds of documents related to mutilations. They detail the lengths that law enforcement has gone to solve this mystery. In September of 1974, there was a surge of mutilations in the Great Plains. The situation drove Senator Carl Curtis of Nebraska to demand an FBI investigation into what he called a series of incidents stretching from Oklahoma to Nebraska. The Bureau referred the request to the Fish and Wildlife Service, which claimed, quote, small mammals such as foxes and opossums. In 1975, Senator Floyd Haskell of Colorado, a Democrat, followed up with the FBI once more. FBI Director Clarence Kelly responded by acknowledging the reported use of an unidentified helicopter near the scene of the mutilation in Colorado. But the director shrugged off the case, saying, these actions do not constitute a violation of federal law, and therefore are not subject to FBI jurisdiction.
Going now into push, Indian stop. To the Challenger and Outlander.
In 1978, Senator Harrison Schmitt, a former astronaut who had walked on the moon, reached out directly to then Attorney General Griffin Bell, requesting that the Justice Department re-examine its jurisdiction in this area. Schmitt was deeply concerned about the mutilations. He told a local paper, either we've got a UFO situation, or we've got a massive, massive conspiracy that is enormously well-funded.
It's like a lot of other stories, what they told you was crazy, a conspiracy theory, turns out to be totally real. That episode of Tucker Carlson Originals is out right now on Fox Nation with a free account at TuckerCarlson.com. So ESG may not be something you deal with every day, but it's completely changed the world, and it determines how a lot of Wall Street allocates its money. And it is not good at all. And we know that because countries all over the world have been pushed into following its precepts. In Sri Lanka, the Netherlands, Ghana, all of these countries have pursued high ESG scores and really hurt themselves. So is there an alternative to ESG? Well, you need to be pretty sophisticated to think, well, not, but Vivek Ramaswamy is. He's got an alternative to it. He's the executive chairman and co-founder of Strive Asset Management. He's got a book out next month titled Nation of Victims. He joins us tonight. Vic, thanks so much for coming on. So there's been a lot of complaining about ESG. I think virtually everyone realizes it's a really bad idea to let ideology control your investments. But you have an alternative to it. What is it?
So look, Tucker, we're solving a problem through the market where BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, these were the three largest U.S. asset managers, managing over $20 trillion. It's about the U.S. GDP. And what they're doing is they're using the money of everyday citizens to damage the American energy sector. That's the sector most harmed by these ESG demands.
Yeah.
And what they tell these companies is to drill less, to frack less, to produce less energy. And you know this well, that has led to a generational American energy crisis. Higher gas prices, less successful American energy companies begging foreign countries to supply America's energy needs. But the good news is we don't have to wait for politicians to solve that problem. We can solve it through the markets. And that is what we're doing. So what Strive did last week was we listed on the New York Stock Exchange an exchange-traded fund, an energy index fund called DRLL, Drill. And it delivers a really simple mandate to U.S. energy companies as a shareholder to drill more, to frack more, to do whatever allows these companies to be most successful without regard to anyone else's climate change agenda, environmental agenda, or social agenda. And the good news is I think that's going to lead energy companies to be less successful and to make more money, but even more importantly for the country, to also shore up American energy security. And that's something people don't have to wait until November to vote for. People vote every day with their dollars. And my hope, Tucker, is that, we actually got over $100 million in the first week. That makes this the fastest non-seeded ETF launch of the year, and it appears to be driven by grassroots support, everyday citizens joining this movement. What I hope to see is this energy fund get bigger than the comparable energy fund offered by BlackRock or by other asset managers to send a powerful signal to the American energy sector that actually there's a new citizen mandate that demands energy companies be the best versions of themselves rather than vehicles for advancing social ideologies.
Well, and a lot of people participate in ESG whether they want to or not. I mean, they're investing your money without your knowledge in things that hurt you. Is it possible for normal people to participate in this alternative?
Oh, actually, this is designed for restoring the voice of the everyday citizen in the American economy, starting with the energy sector. Actually, the average trade size that we saw in the New York Stock Exchange and the DRLL drill was less than $5,000. If you look at the other index funds or the other ETFs that launched with over $100 million in the first week, it was millions of dollars on average. So I think this is actually a bottom-up revolution, I think, Tucker, where we can empower everyday citizens, A, with knowledge, and B, with their own capital to be able to actually send this different message to American energy companies, which is pretty simple.
Man, I'm rooting for you. Vivek, Ramaswamy, great to see you tonight. We'll be right back.
The more experiences I have, the more beautiful life becomes. I believe we're never too old to set a new goal or dream a new dream. We all know that life has obstacles we must navigate. But if we're not at our best physically and mentally, it makes it even more challenging. Only you can do it, but there's nothing wrong with asking for a little help. That's why I take Relief Factor. If you suffer from aches and pains, Relief Factor can help like it did for me. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free alternative created by doctors and backed by scientific research, specifically formulated to address your body's own pain and inflammation. You can really feel the difference. Relief Factor created the 3-week quick start early 1995. We're confident you'll feel the difference with your neck, hip, back, knee, elbow, or other type of joint pain you're experiencing. In fact, about 70% of customers go on to order more. Call 1-800-4RELIEF to order now, or go to relieffactor.com to feel the difference.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and due to your incredible support, the original My Slippers are almost completely sold out. As a special thank you, I am launching my brand new all-season slippers, slides, and sandals for as low as $29.98. This is a limited time offer, so go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code, and you'll get all my new footwear for as low as $29.98. My all-season slippers are made with my exclusive 4-layer design that you won't find in any other slipper. They're finished with a breathable fabric so you can wear them all year round. And my new slides and sandals are made with patented impact gel, making them ultra comfortable and extremely durable. I guarantee they'll be the most comfortable footwear you'll ever own. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen now to get your very own all-season slippers, slides, and sandals for as low as $29.98 with your promo code. This is an introductory offer and it won't last long, so order now.
Did you know color is vital to your health? I'm not talking about the color of the walls in your house or your car or your clothes. I'm talking about the color of the food you eat. The Colorful diet is a part of staying well because many nutrients are color. Eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables provides your body with diverse chemistry it needs to heal itself and stay well. Color, taste, and smell keep you well, and that's what you get with Balance of Nature.
Start now by going to balanceofnature.com and don't forget to use discount code Fox News.
Hi, I'm Don McCarty, proud veteran who's been helping Marines and their families for decades. If you were stationed or working at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you may have been exposed to contaminated water that causes serious health issues. A new law proposes a multi-billion-dollar settlement separate from your veterans claim to compensate anyone that's been affected. If you want to see if you qualify, call us now.
Call 855-300-1000. That's 855-300-1000. Call right now.
I'll never forget sitting in school on that morning and watching those towers come down on the TV. February 8th, 2014 was the day that changed my life. We were on a patrol in Afghanistan supporting the sister unit. The ground exploded underneath me. Sent me a good bit in the air. Landed in a crater probably 6 feet wide, a couple feet deep. And I looked down, and that's when I saw that part of my left leg was missing. I was losing a lot of blood. Infection was starting to take over in my body. It went through multiple hundred units worth of blood, so much so that they actually cleared out the entire blood bank on the base. There was still, I'd say, less than 5% chance that I would make it. They flew my family, my ex-wife, my daughter, my parents, all flown out to Germany to say their final goodbyes. They didn't think I would make it back to the States. I think the final surgery count when I left there was upwards of 100. So definitely a lot to go through. My family's been through the ringer for sure.
Join the Tunnel to Towers Foundation on their mission to do good in support of America's heroes.
Actually coming into the house for the first time, I was in awe. I still am in awe. I don't know if it's set in yet. I don't know when it's going to set in. I love to cook. Having a stovetop that comes down to a safer level for me so that boiling water is not flying into my face. With Tunnel to Towers, it's not just a home. It really is like a whole nother family.
Hello, I'm United States Marine Corps Sergeant Aaron Alonso. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation built me an incredible smart home that will allow me to regain my independence.
Support America's heroes, people who risked their lives to help keep you and your family safe. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, t2t.org.
Liz Cheney has appointed herself democracy's #1 defender. Ironic, since she apparently became its victim tonight. We'll have the full results for you tomorrow. We'll be back. In the meantime, here's Sean Hannity. All right, Tucker, thank you. We'll be following that all night. Welcome to Hannity. Now, my monologue will begin in just a moment, but we begin with this Fox News alert. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast. It is 7 p.m. in Wyoming, where polls are now officially closed. Tonight, all eyes are on, well, she's pretty much the most obsessive Trump hater in the country, Liz Cheney, who is expected to lose the Republican primary badly, despite endorsements from Nancy Pelosi and O.J. Simpson. I didn't even know that. Anyway, we're also monitoring tonight's complicated primary in Alaska, where another notable Trump hater, fake Republican, Rhino, Lisa Murkowski, is in real jeopardy of losing her re-election bid to an actual conservative, Kelly Chewbacca. We're watching Sarah Palin's race as well. Unfortunately, final results in Alaska will likely not be available for weeks. They have a really weird system there. But anyway, let's take it to the ground in Wyoming tonight, where Rich Edson is joining us with the very latest there. Expectations are high that this is not going to be a good night for Liz Cheney. And Liz Cheney, it seems, is trying to get ahead of the loss with a new narrative of being the biggest Trump hater in the country.
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine. And I think Sean got a little control room talk there. But look, the polls are just closing here. The poll workers just came out and said that this is it for the evening. Everything's shut out. They're closing statewide. So perhaps we'll know in a short while who's actually won this primary. This is Congresswoman Liz Cheney against Harriet Hageman, the Trump-backed candidate. Cheney is holding her speech close to this place tonight, close to the Jackson area of Wyoming in the western part of the state. A Cheney ally says that she will speak later tonight and say this primary is only the first battle in a long war. She tweeted earlier today that the challenges we face require serious leadership and those who will abide by their oath and uphold the Constitution no matter what. Harriet Hageman, she's the Trump-backed candidate in this race. There are about 100 House Republicans who are also supporting Hageman's candidacy. That includes Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy is actually in the area towards the middle part of this week. He's here right now with a number of other Republicans. It's a retreat fundraising event. Minority Leader McCarthy told us that this race is absolutely a referendum on January 6th. Cheney is the vice chair of that committee. She's been extremely critical of the former president, Donald Trump, as she continues to chair that committee. Hageman also has made a very large part of her campaign about Cheney's embrace of the January 6th committee, of her embracing that work there and her criticism of the former president. Hageman is out in Cheyenne, more towards the east from here, several hours to the east from here. She'll have an event later on this evening as these poll numbers begin to come in. That's all beginning now. If Cheney fails to win this primary, unclear what she's going to do next, but she managed to raise about $15 million. Half of that is left over. She's only spent about half that money. She can use that money in other federal elections. She has been asked repeatedly if she plans on running for president. Not really answered, but she hasn't ruled it out either. John?
Well, she can't run as a Republican because if she can't win Wyoming, she's not going to win any other red state that I can think of. It's going to be interesting to watch. Rich Edson in we're going to continue to monitor results all throughout the night. But first, the DOJ, the FBI, they need your help. They simply want you to close your eyes, cover your ears, and trust them completely, unquestionably, blindly. As we speak, they are attempting to block the release of the affidavit that was used to search President Trump's home. They don't want you to know exactly why they went in. They don't want you to know exactly why they went in. And for the first time in history, they want to hide the justification for their judge shop, Trump-hating, Obama-loving, not approved by the Senate magistrate. They just want you to trust them. Now, of course, Democrats, the mob, the media, they're more than happy to oblige. In fact, many so-called journalists are eager to publish information from government sources, anonymous as they always are, no questions asked. For example, just yesterday, CBS News, their top anchor, Nora O'Donnell, issued this tweet. According to a DOJ official, the FBI is not in possession of former President Trump's passports. Trump had accused the FBI of stealing his 3 passports, 2 expired, during the search of his home in Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach. That was fake news. The FBI did, in fact, seize the president's passports. Now, Nora O'Donnell got played by the federal government. You would think she'd want to get the truth out there, but anyway, she doesn't really seem to care, as per usual with the mainstream media mob. And, like everyone else, she's a liberal Democrat who probably hates Donald Trump. It's not hard to spot these days. And after all, as Reason.com pointed out, quote, Democrats, they don't trust the police, right? Democrats don't trust them. They want to defund, dismantle, no bail laws. But what, now they trust the FBI, providing that they only target Donald Trump. And by the way, they more than doubled the number of IRS agents to harass all of you. It's a pretty amazing bill. They say we're not going to raise taxes on people making $400,000 a year. That bill raises taxes on every American because of the gas, oil, and coal tax, and then the business tax, and then the small business tax. You'll be paying for all of it. So while they're breaking the promise, now they're promising that if you make below $400,000 a year, you're never going to get an audit. I'm not believing that either. Just like I never believed keep your doctor, keep your plan, and save money. Now, without a doubt, in the past 6 years, targeting Donald Trump has been a top priority for the FBI, especially the upper echelon. Now, the Bureau vehemently denies any and all accusations of political bias. We all know it's BS. Just so that we are clear here on this program, here's who they're asking us to trust. You want to trust Peter Strzok, one of the highest-ranking officials in the department? He was the lead investigator on the Bureau's most sensitive, high-level political case. Today, he tweeted this, quote, why does Trump have 2 passports? The Russian passport, of course, is kept in a vault and only swapped out at third country meets, so it can't be that one. That's supposed to be funny. Is that like Hillary saying, what about the emails? It's pretty unhinged, this tinfoil hat conspiracy, and frankly, the rank arrogance of people like Strzok and Hillary Clinton using a lie and a theory that he perpetrated on the country, a guy that was once tasked with investigating Donald Trump, and a guy that lied about Russia collusion. Peter Strzok was fired 3 years ago after an investigation uncovered a trove of anti-Trump texts and emails, including some from 2016, involving a specific plot to stop Donald Trump from ever having a chance to win. One from August 16th, a text from his FBI girlfriend, Lisa Page, reading, "Trump's not going to ever become president, right? Right?" And Strzok responds, quote, "No, he's not. We'll stop it." That was on August 8th. A week later, he texted, quote, "I want to believe that the path that you threw out for consideration in I assume Andy McCabe's office, that there's no way that he gets elected. But I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before 40. So we'll stop it, and we have an insurance policy." Wow. Talk about an effort to smear Donald Trump in the unlikely event that he actually is liked by the American people will prevent him from taking office. Now, this brings us, by the way, to Peter Strzok's former boss. That's former FBI Deputy Director Andy McCabe, who was fired from the Bureau for lying and leaking. McCabe has since apologized for his behavior, little too late, but is now gainfully employed at fake news CNN, where he's regularly trashing Donald Trump and every other conservative and Republican he can. And then there's Strzok's secret girlfriend, top FBI attorney Lisa Page. Well, she departed the FBI and now regularly trashes Trump as an employee of NBC and MSDNC. And all told, 10 former DOJ and FBI officials now work for fake news CNN or MSDNC. These are the two networks dedicated to smearing, slandering, besmirching Donald Trump and every other conservative in the country. But we're just supposed to believe there's no political bias and believe the FBI, believe the DOJ. Even after the Russia hoax, the Alpha Bank hoax, the Hillary dirty dossier hoax, the FISA abuse, Mueller's, 2+ year witch hunt, the move to label angry parents at school board meetings as domestic terrorists, the willingness to not prosecute rioters from the summer of 2020, and many of those people lying to us saying, "Oh, they're not really riots. They're mostly peaceful. The ones that are killing dozens of Americans, hurting thousands of cops, and destroying billions of property damage. Sure, they're mostly peaceful." And let's not forget the early morning raids on Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, and now Donald Trump himself. Now remind me, how many Biden associates have been raided because of the blatant crimes uncovered on Hunter Biden's hard drive that the FBI has had for nearly 2 years? How many Clinton associates were thrown in shackles after she mishandled top secret classified information, likely hacked by our enemies, foreign countries, and obstructed justice? How many Democrats have gone to jail because of process crimes? Can you name a single one? Again, let me be clear. I respect FBI rank and file special agents who do the work and that protect and serve all of this country. They do the right thing. I have zero respect for the upper echelon of the FBI, and I certainly don't trust any of them, and they have earned all of our distrust. They leak, they lie, and they have turned America's premier law enforcement body into a wing of the Democratic Party. Make no mistake, violence against any member of law enforcement is unacceptable. They try to say any criticism, well, you must be advocating violence. No, we're not. Just the opposite. Any threats of any violence towards any law enforcement must be dealt with, they must be protected, and we must do everything we can to find these people and put them in jail where they belong. Just like Merrick Garland ought to be enforcing the law, and he ought to stop the doxing of Supreme Court justices and the protesting and the harassment and intimidation in front of their homes. And by the way, you look at oversight, that begins in less than 3 months with the midterm elections. Here now with more is the author of The Price of Principle, Harvard Law Professor Alan Dershowitz, along with Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Professor, I'll begin with you tonight and ask you, why are they afraid to let us see the affidavit that justified this magistrate granting this warrant to go into Mar-a-Lago?
I've had a principle for 60 years. I wrote about it in my new book, The Price of Principle, and that is if there's a dispute and one side wants the truth to come out and the other side says, no, we don't want the truth to come out, always believe the person who wants the truth to come out. That's the person who's telling you the truth. And so the Trump people want the affidavit to be released, the Justice Department doesn't. Now, I'm not suggesting releasing the entire affidavit. You can redact the names of witnesses. You can redact the name of agents. You can redact sources and methods. But let's know what they were looking for. I want to know particularly, because to get a search warrant of safe, you have to have very particular evidence what was in the safe. From reporting, we now know nothing was in the safe. We need to know what was in the closet of Mrs. Trump. We need to know what was in the box.
I think I can probably venture a pretty good guess. I think there were probably clothes in the closet. I'm just guessing.
That's right. That sounds right. We need to know why, in light of what the Attorney General said, that the general principles of the Justice Department are to use less restrictive, less intrusive methods than searches unless necessary. Why was it necessary? Why 8 months later? Why after giving subpoenas? Why even wait 3 days over the weekend after you've gotten the search warrant? These are the questions that the affidavit may very well answer. Look, I believe presumption of innocence for everybody, including Garland. I want to presume he did the right thing. But the affidavit is the essential crucial point. Let's get it out of this
magistrate, Professor. Why didn't they go to a judge that was approved by the Senate? And if it was so dangerous as they leaked to the Washington Post, and it had to do with nuclear or anything, why did they wait 3 days after they got the warrant? Why did they wait a long time to actually file the warrant?
You're absolutely right. They should have gone to an Article 3 judge. They have the right to do that. It's traditional to go to a magistrate, but it's not traditional to search the home of a former president who is thinking about possibly running. You know, what looks so terrible around the world is that you have an attorney general appointed by one presidential candidate, the incumbent, investigating another presidential candidate, the Republican, and using methods that weren't used previously against Democrats like Hillary Clinton and like Sandy Berger. That's the appearance of justice. Not only must justice be done, it must seem to be done. And it's not being seen to be done. The affidavit may respond, may answer all these questions. Maybe it'll answer them satisfactorily. Maybe not, but we have the right to know.
You know, Greg, we have a magistrate that is a Trump hater, an Obama lover, and even recused himself in a previous case, fairly recent, as it relates to Donald Trump. Then we have the issue of the affidavit. I want to get your thoughts on that. And, you know, as I look at what they're trying to do here, you know, why won't they release the surveillance video that they wanted to have shut off? Why would the FBI want that shut off? I thought for years we wanted body cams on cops and we wanted dash cams on cops so that it kept everybody honest. Why would they not? Why would they be demanding that the surveillance cameras at Mar-a-Lago be shut down? And thank God they didn't.
Their position, Sean, is we are the government, trust us. You know, Merrick Garland insists that he upholds the law without fear or favor. But the track record of the Department of Justice and the FBI tells us just the opposite. We've gone through, you and I, many of the cases in which the FBI lied and deceived and concealed and manipulated evidence in order to gain search warrants to persecute and prosecute people. And so this is the reason why, you know, most Americans don't trust the FBI and the Department of Justice. Just look at the polling data, because their record has actually been a disgraceful one. Just read the Inspector General's report, which is a wholesale condemnation of the corruption within the Department of Justice and the FBI. And suspicions about Merrick Garland's motives in the Trump case is compounded by the fact that he wants to conceal everything. He wants to conceal the affidavits. What is he hiding from the American public? Did the FBI deceive the magistrate? Did they withhold critical exculpatory evidence? Did they not tell the magistrate that Trump had been cooperating, that he had complied with an earlier subpoena and turned over whatever the government had asked for? You know, this is an important case. My goodness, we're talking about the raid by the political opponent's administration of a former president's residence. It screams for transparency. The optics here are ugly, and Americans deserve a greater measure of truth. Government, the power of government derives from the consent of the people, and it exists only as so far as the people allow the government to exist. And when they find a corrupt and abusive government in power, it's incumbent upon them to vote that government out.
All right, 45 seconds each, 2 questions. One, Professor Dershowitz, do you believe that the DOJ will indict Donald Trump? And number 2, they're demanding the surveillance video. Should the Trump people turn it over?
Well, first of all, I don't think that he will be indicted. In order for a future presidential candidate to be indicted by the appointee of a current president, you need Nixon-type crimes. You need smoking guns. You need absolute corruption. You're not going to have an indictment by somebody, I think, like Merrick Garland, if all we're talking about is what Hillary Clinton did and what Sandy Berger did. Even if in the end it turns out there were some dramatic materials within the classification, I don't think that's going to result in an indictment. It has to be a slam dunk.
All right, real quick, should they hand over the surveillance video? Real quick.
I do. I think that you should hand over surveillance video and take over everything. You don't hide anything.
Okay, let's ask you, will they indict him, Greg Jarrett? And they're demanding the surveillance video. Should the Trump people turn it over real quick?
It would be foolish to indict him based on the statutes, the 3 statutes cited in the warrant. All of them require deliberation. They use language like knowing and willful and intentional. You can't prove that in a case like that.
Can you prove it in a DC court that maybe voted 5% for Donald Trump?
Yeah, you could prove Christmas occurs in July in a DC court, but it wouldn't hold up on appeal. And yes, they absolutely should turn over surveillance videotape. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Just well, turn it over or just release it on their own and let the American people see what went on. All right, thank you both, Professor Dershowitz and Greg Jarrett. Coming up, the DOJ is doing damage control over the tactics they used in Peter Navarro's arrest. We'll tell you the update, and Peter will join us. Also, Paul Manafort will react as he releases his book, Political Prisoner, today. Straight ahead.
Imagine being able to decipher any word, tackle any equation, remember more even after the test, and conquer any challenge thrown your way.
Give them the education they deserve. Rebecca Homeschool. We're learning this. Start your free trial today.
Did you serve, live with your family, or work at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina between 1953 and 1987?
Contaminated water at the base during that time has been linked to these serious health problems. If you were exposed and hurt, the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 may make it possible for you to recover a settlement.
You may be entitled to substantial compensation.
Call 1-800-441-0808. That's 1-800-441-0808.
Fact, we all love video doorbells. Voice assistants have changed our lives. We now control our home with a touch. And you know what's better than all these things by themselves? All these things together from the most trusted name in security, ADT.
This isn't just freight. These aren't just shipments. They're promises. Promises of all shapes and sizes. Each with a time and a place they've been promised to be. A promise is everything to Old Dominion because it means everything to you.
Today, rising prices are everywhere. At Nutrisystem, we believe this shouldn't stop you from losing weight and living healthier. That's why we're dropping our prices back to January 2019 on our most popular program, Uniquely Yours. You get our delicious meals delivered free. You may not be able to control rising costs, but you can control your health and your weight with Nutrisystem. Take advantage of this limited time offer. Go online or call right now.
For breaking news, politics, and Beltway coverage like no other, Brett Baer has the smart analysis you can't miss. Special report, weeknights at 6 on Fox News Channel.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful. So we created our smart solar system to sell your home for top dollar and save you thousands in commissions.
I was amazed at the fact that my house sold in one day. Ideal agents saved me in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 in commission. The process was as easy as it gets. They are the #1 way to sell your house.
Our service is free, available nationwide, and there's zero obligation. Call us today or visit idealagent.com.
Manhood looks different from guy to guy, but when yours bends in a different direction, you might feel bothered by it. Talk to a urologist, because a bend in your erection might be Peyronie's disease, or PV. It's a condition that involves a buildup of scar tissue, but it's treatable. Xiaflex is the only FDA-approved non-surgical treatment for appropriate adult men with Peyronie's disease. Along with daily gain stretching and straightening exercises, Xiaflex has been proven to help gradually reduce the bend. Don't receive if the treatment area involves your urethra, or if you're allergic to any collagens or any of the ingredients. May cause serious side effects, including penile fracture or other serious injury during erection, and severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Seek help if you have any of these symptoms. Do not have any sexual activity during and for at least 4 weeks after each treatment cycle. Sudden back pain reactions after treatment may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a bleeding condition or take blood thinners, as risk of bleeding or bruising at the treatment site is increased. Talk to a urologist about what your manhood could look like. Find a Xiaflex trained urologist at bencarrot.com.
You guys are crushing it. See how it grabs some healthy protein and let the crust bring in meat, gives you energy, and keeps you full. Let's get those buns toasted, bread, cheese, 10 more, go.
Make the smart choice. Blend Frost Premium Meat. Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let Lucian Bath and Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Be one of the first 100 callers who schedule a free in-home consultation and receive $500 off.
All right, another day with yet another example of our two-tier justice system. You know, we don't have equal justice or application of our laws any longer. But just get this, the Biden DOJ is now claiming that the heavy-handed arrest tactics used against Peter Navarro back in June at an airport were completely reasonable and appropriate, calling him a, quote, unpredictable subject. Now remember, Peter Navarro was arrested while getting on an airplane, put in handcuffs. He was then taken, strip searched, put in leg irons at a federal building that is only 50 yards from his own house, and thrown in a jail cell that they told him housed the guy Hinckley that tried to kill President Reagan, all over 2 misdemeanor charges. But the Biden Justice Department says this was all to avoid a media circus, and yet another example of deep state bad actors, the justice system for politics and the politics of personal destruction. Here to explain, author of Taking Back Trump's America, Peter Navarro himself. Peter, I want you to give you an opportunity to specifically respond. The prosecutors are saying that they attempted to interview you and serve you a subpoena, and that you were combative and you told them to get the F out of there, and that you have a history of seeking out news coverage. I've never found that to be the case. You never asked to be on this program. And to avoid a media circus, they would arrest you at the... I'm trying to understand that one.
Well, let's start with the media circus. When they arrested me at the airport and wound up putting me in leg irons, I was in solitary confinement for almost 3 hours while the FBI leaked my arrest to the press within nanoseconds of grabbing me with 5 armed FBI agents. But the facts are the facts, Sean. They grabbed me, put me in leg irons. They went down to Mar-a-Lago with a battalion of FBI agents. Both President Trump and I were cooperating with the National Archives and the Justice Department. There's a disproportionate response. They weaponized. Now, here's the thing, Sean. That brief today that they filed was a cover-their-ass brief that was lies by omission. It's 2 + 2 arithmetic. 2 days, Sean, 2 days before they grabbed me at that airport, I called the FBI agent, Walter Giordano, the arresting agent, and said, hey, Walter, whatever you need, I'm happy to cooperate. I had an inkling they might be doing something. And I said, hey, Walter, whatever you need, right? And 2 times before that, this is the other 2, I had willingly and peacefully accepted subpoenas by email, first from the coronavirus subcommittee and then from the select committee. So I had a pattern of peaceful cooperation in receiving subpoenas. So what they said was just a cover their ass thing. The bigger issue here, Sean, and this is what they're afraid of. We, in our discovery motion, want to find out exactly who made the decision to do that public arrest and put me in leg irons. Why did they do it? And why, for example, if I committed the crimes they said I did, why didn't they charge, for example, Dan Scavino and Mark Meadows as they did me? That's what they call selective prosecution.
Let me ask you this, though.
And this is a clear case of that.
Respond to their initial charge that only a few days before the arrest, that FBI agents attempted to interview you and serve you a subpoena. Is that true? And they claim you were. Go ahead. And you told the agents to get the F out of here. Sure. Is that true?
The week before they arrested me, they came to my door in the very early morning and almost kicked the door down while I was asleep. And that kind of behavior was totally unwanted. It was bullying, coercive, terrorist kind of tactics, because they knew full well I would have been happy to take that subpoena. They could have come at a reasonable hour. I was peaceful with them, but I sternly rebuked them for kind of bullying, coercion they did. But Sean, the important thing is, 2 days before they arrested me, I called that same agent. I said, hey, Walter, whatever you need, buddy, you don't have to kick my door down again. I'm here to cooperate. And by the way, that same day, June 1st, I sent a letter to the district attorney, Elizabeth Alloy, seeking a modus vivendi. I say, I'm doing my constitutional duty here. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Here's my attorney to call. And you know what? They didn't call that attorney. And in that brief they filed today, Sean, guess what? They said I didn't have legal representation. That was a lie. So there were lies and omission in that brief. There were lies, but of course they knew better. Of course they knew better. Look, when they came in the early morning with that subpoena, it was unnecessary.
I'll tell you one thing, Peter.
Called me up and served it, and then they're trying to bully us.
I'll add one thing to this too. You know what? Look at the Hillary Clinton case. They never knocked on her door. They didn't have a pre-dawn raid like they did. Paul Manafort is going to join us next. I can't remember a time that they put her in leg shackles or in handcuffs. I don't remember Hunter Biden, and we know about the laptop. The FBI has had it now for almost 2 years. I don't remember Hunter being, a pre-dawn raid at his home. We know he lied on a gun application. We know that gun ended up in a dumpster. And we know that he mentions the big guy, his father, a lot, and he's implicated all over that laptop, and not a finger's been lifted in this case. So there certainly is a two-tier justice system, and that should be the point that Americans take away from this. They don't treat Democrats the way they treat conservatives, period. Peter Navarro, thank you for telling your story. We wanted to give you a chance to respond. We appreciate it. All right. Also, remember, it was back in the summer of 2017, former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort had an FBI raid on his Virginia residence. That was part of the years-long Russia hoax. I got the book right here in front of me. Remember, Mueller and his team, they wanted Paul Manafort to die in jail. They tried hard. They also put him in solitary confinement for 9 straight months. Last year, Manafort was pardoned by President Trump after prosecutors destroyed his life. Now, this new book is out today. It's called Political Prisoner, Persecuted, Prosecuted, but Not Silenced. Paul Manafort joins us now. Paul, first, congratulations on the book. I don't know if you went to a bookstore today, but it's in bookstores all across the country. You can get it on Amazon.com, a first edition copy. I read the whole book cover to cover. I will tell you, I'm reading this and I'm saying, this is not the America I know. This is not the country that I know. Now, we were talking about tax violations, FARA violations, process crimes. You weren't Sammy the Bull Gravano. You weren't John Gotti Sr. that the FBI was looking for. You weren't a member of the drug cartel. And in these cases, they had all been settled. You point this out in great detail. So why the pre-dawn raid with the guns in your face and your wife's face?
Because I was Donald Trump's chairman of this campaign, and I supported him for president. And, what they did to me and to Roger Stone and General Flynn, Papadopoulos and Carter Page, was nothing compared to what they do to the president. But beyond that, what they feel is the freedom, proven by what they do with Peter Navarro, to keep going forward. They don't feel shamed at all by their tactics. And unfortunately, what we're starting to see is this percolating down, as you said a minute ago, to the grassroots of the country, so that parents are now in the target zone. Taxpayers, small businessmen are now in the target zone. And unless we stop this now, and I talk about this in the book, the importance of stopping it now, it's going to permeate the whole red state landscape, because it's not on the coast that you see these activities. And so the book is meant to tells it through my eyes.
Well, let me ask you this. Because 9 months in solitary confinement could break many a man, in my humble opinion. I've never been to jail. I never want to go to jail. I pay all my taxes, so I'll stay out of jail. But to be serious here, you put somebody in solitary confinement, they're locked up 23 out of 24 hours every day. You have no contact for the most part with anybody, and you're in there alone. And obviously they wanted to break you, and then at different times they would give you an opportunity, and they would be, I don't want to put words in your mouth, they would try to encourage you, is that the right word, to say certain things about Donald Trump, and that you would be rewarded if you did.
Or trick me to saying things. Because it wasn't like they would ask, what did Donald Trump? No question. They were very circumspect, but clearly Weissman had a theory. It was a crazy theory that Trump had used Roger Stone and myself and Carter Page to reach out to the Russians. Roger was dealing with WikiLeaks. I was dealing with Moscow. Trump was setting the pace of when to release the hack materials. It was a crazy theory, and and his motive was that Trump was going to give Eastern Ukraine to Russia when he became president, which he did exactly the opposite. When he became president, he gave lethal weapons to Ukraine that Obama wouldn't do, and that Biden stopped doing when he became president until Russia was invaded. So, I mean, his motive was already out of style when he was trying to force me into telling lies to give him his narrative.
And how ironic is it that it was a dirty misinformation Russian dossier paid for by Hillary Clinton that the FBI used to get the warrant on Carter Page to backdoor into the Trump campaign and spy on a candidate and a president. You can't make that up. And then in 2020, they said, oh, Hunter's laptop, it's all Russian disinformation. So whenever it's convenient, they'll use Russia any way they want to use Russia to help their select candidate.
That's exactly right. And it's convenient that they ignore totally the key President Trump right now. It was a server, but it was the that's not documents. And as you said on the show many times, they didn't even blow it out. James Comey cleared Hillary Clinton, even admitting that she did things that were wrong. Now they're not trying to clear President Trump, they're trying to create a subterfuge to convict.
Let me ask this. What do you want the American people to know about justice in America and about the upper echelon of the FBI looking after you?
Well, I think they need to understand that justice in America and our Constitution creates certain protections, but if we don't create a government that honestly.
It's called political prisoner, persecuted, prosecuted, but not silenced. Paul Manafort, congratulations. The book is out today in bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com, Hannity.com. Appreciate you being with us. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a deep dive into the Pennsylvania Senate race. John Fetterman finally back on the campaign trail, not looking very good following his stroke a few months ago. And he's back to spreading his really radical ideas. Believe it or not, he's to the left of Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. Straight ahead, we'll check in with Dick Gingrich.
Can the key to a healthier diet fit into just 6 capsules? Yes. We start by sourcing the best vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. They are then put through an advanced vacuum-cooled process, maximizing the nutritional value while preserving the color, smell, and taste of the fruit or vegetable. These are then mixed into our proprietary blends and then encapsulated, then bottled and shipped right to our customers. Start now by going to balanceofnature.com and don't forget to use discount code FOXNEWS.
New Astapro Allergy, now available without a prescription. Astapro is the first and only 24-hour storage-free spray. While other allergy sprays take hours, Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. So you can Astapro and go.
1987, you may have been exposed to contaminated water that causes serious health issues. A new law proposes a multi-billion-dollar settlement separate from your veterans claim to compensate anyone that's been affected. If you want to see if you qualify, call us now. Call 855-300-1000. That's 855-300-1000. Call right now.
Checking out?
We appreciate your loyalty, Miss Jones. That comes to $129 for the night, please.
Not bad. Checking out.
$99 for the night, please.
Wait, what? How did you get that deal? I used Trivago.
With Trivago, you can compare hotel offers from major booking sites and find a great deal. Hotel Trivago.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
Sure.
We searched you online, and maybe you can explain this?
Can't believe that garbage is still coming in.
That is so false. Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation Defender today to join tens of thousands who improve their online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 1-877-866-8555.
In today's challenging world, being safer at home has taken on a new dimension, and our seniors need more attention than ever before. With our award-winning one-to-one personalized home care, Visiting Angels can help your family navigate through these difficult times, providing care that will give you the peace of mind that makes the future look a lot brighter. Visiting Angels, we're here for you.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
This is exactly why we chose leaf filter. Before leaf filter, our gutters would get so clogged.
Tree limbs, bird nests.
Our house is 2 stories tall. Getting up to these gutters is very dangerous.
When I was hired somebody to clean, it was very expensive. Leaf filter was a lifesaver.
When the salesman came over and showed us how they work, gave us interest-free financing, and the price was right, it was a no-brainer.
The leaf filter installation process is so simple and easy.
They got our entire 4,000 square foot house all fitted out and installed in less than a day.
And we noticed the difference right away. Now, all these gutters are actually doing what they're supposed to do. Our downspouts flow freely now.
I don't have to worry about climbing up the ladder.
My home is better protected. The whole process was so simple. I'm saving a ton of money, and it's only increased the values of my home.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
Magnesium is vital for bone, nerve, and muscle health. I recommend Cunol Extra Strength Magnesium. Unlike regular magnesium, Cunol's high absorption helps you get the full benefits of magnesium. Cunol, the brand I trust.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
This is a Fox News alert. We're starting to get some early results out of Wyoming. As expected, Liz Cheney is trailing her opponent, Harriet Hagerman, and we're going to keep you updated as we get more numbers throughout the evening. So we'll watch that race very closely. Now, far-left Democratic Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman made his first campaign public appearance on Friday since suffering a stroke back in the middle of May, just before that primary. Here's a small sample of his remarks. They were in Erie, PA, where Fetterman was visibly uncomfortable and at times struggled, well, just simply speaking.
We could have picked any part of Pennsylvania where we're going to start the campaign trail starting. Let me tell you, 2 years ago, I was talking to the media and saying them folks, you want to know who's going to be the next president? You know what I said? I said, tell me one thing. Tell me who wins Erie? 25 of those counties more votes. 25 of those 50. There's 54 red counties more votes than Dr. Oz in those counties as well too. I gave away the lieutenant governor in Pennsylvania, the only lieutenant governor in the history to do that. And you can count on us to eliminate the filibuster. Eliminate the filibuster, and let's get some stuff done for America.
Now, we obviously wish Mr. Fetterman well in terms of his health and quick recovery, but make no mistake about it, his radical campaign is just that. Fetterman is running as the 50 abolish the filibuster. wants to double down on the failing far-left climate alarmist cult Biden-Bernie manifesto agenda. He also has come out against fracking, domestic oil production, and American energy independence. Also, one column called him part of Bernie Sanders' army. He has praised Bernie Sanders in the past. He supports the Green New Deal, radical socialism. Back in 2013, he actually pulled a shotgun on an unarmed African-American, wrongly believing the man had been involved in a shooting, even sparking backlash from fellow Democrats. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. The stakes could not be any higher in the state of Pennsylvania. This is a must-hold seat for Republicans. The Commonwealth is always hard for Republicans to win, but it is must-win for Dr. Mehmet Oz, who I have endorsed. Here with reaction, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Of all the Democrats running, Fetterman by Joe Biden went along with the Bernie Sanders Biden manifesto.
Well, Fetterman's not only the most radical Democratic nominee for the Senate in the entire country. Well, let's be clear. Fetterman's policies on crime, which have been consistently to release violent criminals in places like Philadelphia, which is having a huge explosion in murders and robberies and rapes. Fetterman's going to, I think, perform far worse than a normal Democrat because he's so clearly pro-criminal. In the western part of the state, which is the fourth largest energy producer in the United States, Fetterman's policies against natural gas would in fact kill about 600,000 jobs. I think Mehmet Oz's job is pretty straightforward. Make clear to the people of Pennsylvania how radical Fetterman is, how much he would kill their economy, and how clearly Mehmet Oz would work in every single county in the state to create jobs, to create public safety, and to give people a better future. Let me point out, I was born in Harrisburg. I have relatives all across central Pennsylvania. I think I got a pretty good sense of the state. I do not believe in the end that Fetterman will win because I think that he is not just radical, he is destructive of the state of Pennsylvania. We would be a much poorer state if Fetterman wins. We'd be a much more dangerous state with criminals let loose if Fetterman wins. And I think Pennsylvanians aren't going to vote for that kind of policy.
You know, it's interesting because you believe that there should be, the Republican Party should be running on a national ticket. Kevin McCarthy's doing it in the House. We've not on the bandwagon because this is an opportunity for Republicans to make very clear distinctions about border security, about energy independence, about law and order, about education in our schools, about the type of judges we want serving on the Supreme Court and other judgeships, about national defense, national security. And it's the biggest compare-contrast election you could ever imagine, and I have not seen a lot of candidates make that case as well as you have. Why not? You're not running.
Well, I think it's beginning to happen. I wish McConnell was more committed to a issues-oriented, values-oriented campaign. That's not his personal style. But at the same time, it is Rick Scott's style. And the fact is, let's take this example of 87,000 additional IRS agents. You go into Arizona. You ask the average person in Arizona, would you rather have 87,000 more people on the border working to control the border, or would you rather have them as IRS agents investigating you and your small business, etc.? I think overwhelmingly they're going to think that Mark Kelly was crazy to vote for the IRS agents instead of voting for the border. I think you can go by item around the country, and these are all national issues. The things I just mentioned about Fetterman, the issue of natural gas is going to affect, for example, Senator Hassan in New Hampshire, because she's in favor of much more expensive heating oil and much more expensive gasoline.
Well said. I hope every candidate, they should get your book, they should read it, and they should study it, and then they should go out and fight on the principles you lay out in the book. Anyway, you get a book club with it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Appreciate it. Coming up, Biden took a break from his nice multi-week vacation to sign that new tax and spend bill. will highlight the very worst in this legislation and put it in the context of this leading into this important midterm election year.
My name's Diane. I grow lots of pretty flowers. At a point in my life not too long ago, I was thinking I could never garden again. But then I found Balance of Nature, and it's just been a no-brainer ever since. I feel great. I have plenty of energy. I sleep well at night. With Balance of Nature, I can work just as hard and as long as I really want to. It's just been a godsend.
Start today by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Fox News.
Did you serve, live with your family, or work at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina between 1953 and 1987?
Contaminated water at the base during that time has been linked to these serious health problems. If you were exposed to compensation, call 1-800-441-0808. That's 1-800-441-0808.
As an athlete and as a coach, I work out every single day. I move. I wear UFOs because it provides recovery and they are seriously life-changing footwear.
Today, rising prices are everywhere. At Nutrisystem, we believe this shouldn't stop you from losing weight and living healthier. For a limited time, we're dropping our prices back to January 2019 on our most popular program. Go online or call right now.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and due to your incredible support, the original My Slippers are almost completely sold out. As a special thank you, I am launching my brand new all-season slippers, slides, and sandals for as low as $29.98. This is a limited time offer, so go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get all my new footwear for as low as $29.98. My all-season slippers are made with my exclusive 4-layer design that you won't find in any other slipper. They're finished with a breathable fabric so you can wear them all year round. And my new slides and sandals are made with patented impact gel, making them ultra comfortable and extreme. Get your very own all-season slipper, slides, and sandals for as low as $29.98 with your promo code. This is an introductory offer and it won't last long, so order now.
No Gascon recall after all. No controversy over LACA. The votes against it came in, so why didn't they add up? Go inside the numbers. Next, Tucker Carlson tonight.
When back pain hits, the gels are nearly impossible to apply, but now there's Zim's Max Freeze Liquid. Thanks to its easy reach long neck bottle, you get maximum cooling relief right where you need it. Get Zim's Max Freeze Liquid at Walmart, Rite Aid, and CVS.
Manhood looks different from guy to guy, but when yours bends in a different direction, you might feel bothered by it. So talk to a urologist, because a bend in your erection might be Peyronie's disease, or PD. It's a condition that involves a buildup of scar tissue, but it's treatable. Xiaflex is the only FDA-approved non-surgical treatment for appropriate adult men with Peyronie's disease. Along with daily penile stretching and straightening exercises, Xiaflex has been proven to help gradually reduce the bend. Don't receive if the treatment area involves your urethra, or if you're allergic to any collagens or any of the ingredients. It may cause serious side effects, including penile fracture or other serious injury during erection, and severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Seek help if you have any of these symptoms. Do not have any sexual activity during and for at least 4 weeks after each treatment cycle. Sudden back pain reactions after treatment may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a bleeding condition or take blood thinners, as risk of bleeding or bruising at the treatment site is increased. Talk to a urologist about what your manhood could look like. Find a Xiaflex trained urologist at bencarrot.com.
When back pain hits, the gels are nearly impossible to apply, but now there's Zim's Max Freeze Liquid. Thanks to its easy reach long neck bottle, you get maximum cooling relief right where you need it. Get Zim's Max Freeze Liquid at Walmart, Rite Aid, and CVS.
All right, here we are just about 90 days outside the election. Biden signs into law the Democrats' tax and spending spree. And just like we've been telling you, it will expand the size of the IRS and their bureaucracy. It more than doubles the number of agents. Remember, it's low-income Americans who are audited at a rate of 5 times more than everyone else. Additionally, the law also raises taxes on corporations. Corporations don't pay taxes. They will pass that on to you, the consumer. And of course, Joey, well, did have a busy day. He left the beaches of South Carolina. He went back to Washington to raise your taxes. Now he's headed off to Delaware for another week-long vacation. There was reaction. Fox News contributor Laura Trump, along with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Well, if you're going to raise taxes on oil, gas, coal, corporations and small businesses, Laura Trump, I think it's obvious who's going to pay the bill, and that's the American people and those people making under $400,000 a year, so they're lying to us.
Well, of course they're lying to us. They've been lying since the beginning. We could see from the very beginning that it was going to do the opposite. Obviously, all the experts have said that. But to see Joe Biden, Sean, go from vacation to vacation and then in between sign this bill just to cause more hardship for Americans, it is really incredible. I've never seen something like this happen. If Joe Biden's goal was to do the opposite of Donald Trump, he is nailing it on the work ethic front because we know my father-in-law was working 24/7 for the American people. Here Joe Biden is on vacation. Perhaps it's a strategy, though, by his staff, because I'm sure these people are exhausted cleaning up the mess that he leaves behind anytime he takes the stage. If he's on vacation, I guess the worst they have to worry about is him falling off of a bike instead of falling up the stairs of Air Force One. But if we're being really honest, the best thing for America would be if Joe Biden just continued this vacation for roughly 28 months, because at this point, we would be better off without the captain of a ship steering us, especially if that captain, and I use that term very loosely, is steering us off the edge of a cliff, which is exactly what's happening.
You know, Governor, it used to be in the past that you don't raise taxes before an election. You know, especially when you have record high inflation, 41-year high, and record high energy prices, and then you go ahead and you tax energy again. How do they think that's going to play with the American people?
I don't know what on earth they're thinking. And I do know, news is breaking tonight, that Joe Manchin has gone into the Federal Witness Protection Program because after he supported this bill, people of West Virginia realized what a dog of a bill it is. It's pathetic. But, you know, if the average American isn't making at least $718 a month more than they used to make, they're going backwards because inflation is hitting them at $717 per month. Sean, that's a lot of money that Americans don't have, and I sure hope they remember that when they go vote in November.
Well, $6,800 is what the average couple is paying in Biden inflation. If you drive your own car to work, you're going to pay an extra $2,000 in gas this year. 2/3 of American households now live paycheck to paycheck. Joe caused those problems. Hopefully the American people wake up in November and throw these bums out. Anyway, Laura, thank you. Governor, thank you. More Hannity right after this break.
New Astapro Allergy, now available without a prescription. Astapro is the first and only 24-hour storage-free spray. While other allergy sprays take hours, Astapro starts working.
Hey Jim, did you get my message about AAA? AAA is on the way over. We're then taking back up to Silver too. So I'm gonna have them go ahead and reach it. Let me get my wife's name. Do you have something to write with? It's E-A-J-A. E-A-J-A. Or B, U-R-B-I. Yeah. E-A-J-A. After B. So the reservation isn't her name, but they're not gonna ask me for ID. But just so you know the name, so you're looking for her. They don't know what she's a male or female. So, you can be a really good privilege membership. And then we take them back up to Silver. Reservation. Okay. So they're gonna do their any minute, supposedly. You can give them your number? Yeah. Okay. So that way we can coordinate that. Good. Like I've got AAA now on my phone here, so I'll be tracking that also. Yeah. But they have both of them on. If you got it, so what by what? Yeah. Your wife. Okay. Okay. I'll do that. What space is he in? 5. Okay. So you need to put something in there. Okay. Okay. All right. I think thank you very much. Address Lake Havasu Resort. That's it. originally was that beat, but they're like now the text message has been delayed, so it's in programs. Well, this afternoon, that we're
Yeah.